Everyone, this is Charles Harper, and we're talking about the metric in this case. And you should have already put together your metric based on Kevin Kelly's article where we talked about the baseline. And the baseline is then again going to be you're thinking about, well, what can I do to generate $100,000 per year? And the way that you want to think about that is working with 1,000 people to whom you're going to sell $100 every single year. So again, 1,000 true fans times $100 is $100,000, and that's your baseline. And the reason that you want to use that as a baseline is because you want to think about at that $100,000 a year, does that allow you to live on everything you want to live on? And then, in order to invest in your business, can you attend all of the conferences in your niche? So think about all of the conferences that you want to go to. If it's in the make money online niche, go out and figure out how much it's going to take you to travel, how much it's going to take you to attend the conference, what's going to take you to buy a few things at the conference from the speaker. What is it going to take for you to earn all the money that you need to earn in order to attend all the conferences? Because what we want to do is we want to take that number and we want to put that inside of the baseline. So, in other words, if all of the conferences in your particular niche are going to cost you $8,000, then what we want is 1,000 true fans times whatever it would take to get $108,000. So, the first thing that you want to do, work through what it's going to take to attend all of the conferences in your niche. And quite frankly, you should be putting together a GPT in order to do this. So, if you know how to put together GPTs and Chat GPT, you need to just have the Chat GPT ask you what are all the conferences in your niche, then have it actually calculate what the baseline is going to be based on all of those conferences. Most important, can you buy all the education you need for your niche for this calendar year? So if this year is going to be 12 months, and you know that you've got a specific bottleneck in your business right now, and we're going to get to what that means later on in the sessions, but based on what you know about your business, you buy all the education you need. So who's the very best teacher that you know that can teach you, let's say, paid traffic, if that's what you know you've got to get? Who can teach you how to do mail, direct mail? And so you want to go out and price all those things because again, that needs to be your baseline. You need to start out with your baseline at the right number. So again, so we're going to add all of that into the baseline. All of the conferences you got to attend, plus travel, plus hotel, all the expenses. You want to put that in your baseline. If you can only attend one conference, then put that in there. If you can only attend, let's say, one conference virtually, let's say you want to go to something like Dan Kennedy or ClickFunnels or something like that, what's that going to cost you? Put all of those numbers into the baseline in addition to the education you know you need today for your particular niche. And then can you support your lifestyle without having to stop working on your business? And so if this is going to matter to you, then what you've got to do is $100,000, it may not necessarily be enough. And so this number, whatever the baseline is, needs to support your lifestyle. And if your lifestyle encompasses savings and all the other things that you need to do, then put that number in here. If you put it in here at the beginning and you make it a target, which is what we're going to do, then it's going to be easier to get to in order to work through the entire process when you're actually starting to get after this particular number. Now, what's actually going to be important here is can you generate this kind of income without having to work 24/7? And so you want to think about what it's going to take to outsource, what it's going to take to put people into helping you. What do you need to do in order to generate this kind of income? Are you going to have to buy some things? You're going to have some things in place. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to say, well, hey, I can generate $100,000 if I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not the idea. And so one thing that you're going to need to think about is you need to think about the time you're going to need to be able to put in. So if you're going to maybe only be able to put in 6 hours every day, then that's the kind of business you're going to need to build. And you might as well do this here at the beginning because this will crystallize your thinking in the right way when you are choosing the niche and the people that you want to work with. So can you generate the kind of income that you need for that baseline number without having to work 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So now that you have all of those numbers, and this is just the investment portion of the business, we're going to get to some other elements in future sessions, but you've got to adjust this baseline. And so if your baseline is then $131,000, then you've got to have 1,000 true fans times whatever the number is to get to $131,000 to get to whatever your baseline is. And so this is where you've got to start doing some work. You've got to start doing some math, and you've got to start thinking about, well, what do you need in order to make this business work? Again, all $100,000 is a way of thinking about it, and how many fans we're going to need, how many customers we're going to need, how many people are we going to need to have working with us, spending $100 a year in order to get to our baseline. Because after this, once you come up with this number, and we're going to stop here for this particular element, you want to start looking at the funnels in your niche and at the product level. In the next session, we're going to look at the funnels in our niche, and we're going to look at those funnels in the product level, and we're going to determine what it's going to take in order to get to this number based on the kind of products that are being launched in our particular market or niche. So let's recap. The baseline is 1,000 true fans times $100 to get to a $100,000 baseline. And what we want to do is we want to adjust that baseline based on being able to attend all of the conferences in our market or niche. We want to get to know everybody that we possibly can. We want to be the ultimate insider inside of our niche. We want to be in the middle of everything. And the only way you're going to be in the middle of everything is you've got to be able to attend everything you can and get to know people that you can where you can shake their hands. Can you buy all the education you need for your particular market or niche? Whatever that means, and whatever that means to you for this calendar year. Whatever that's going to cost, you want to put that number inside of your baseline because that number is going to determine what your target's going to be. Can you support your lifestyle without having to stop working on your business? And so you want to think about that. Well, you know, what kind of lifestyle are you going to need from your business, and what kind of work, what kind of time you're going to have to put in? I mean, do you have aging parents you've got to take care of? You're not going to be able to put in, let's say, 18 hours a day. Then you've got to factor that in to the kind of business you want to have, and you've got to factor that in with the kind of customers you're going to get. And so you don't want to aim for customers that are going to keep you working and keep you from, let's say, your obligations. You're going to have to build a business. You're going to have to go after customers that will give you the business that you need. And so we're going to have to make adjustments to that baseline. And the baseline is going to be individual to everyone. And so when you think about this, then this will kind of give you what the beginnings of a number that we're going to use in order to make a target. Because what we're going to do next, we're going to be looking at the funnels in our niche and at the product level. In online video per day, in the resale rights version, we very recently covered the YouTube monetization policy. And this is going to be very important for you to explain to your customers. In the unrestricted rights version, we did cover the new video creator, VO3, inside of Google Gemini, and we demonstrated how it works. Depending on when you're seeing this video, our 4th of July sale is ending as of Friday at midnight Pacific Standard Time, and the cost will increase. And also the retirement of our new marketer workshop with unrestricted rights. This is actually 7 different courses that we've bundled into one that will not be coming over with us to GainMindshare.ai. Now in this session, hopefully you have internalized what Kevin Kelly was saying in his article, and that we can determine a baseline for our business, and we're just going to use that in order to create a metric. What we want to do now is we want to adjust that metric based on our individual situation. And so you start thinking about the things that you're going to need to invest into your business. And you're an information marketer. And so ideas are going to be the thing that you're going to need to invest in. So you're going to need to figure out what kind of education you're going to need to invest in. You're also going to need to determine what kind of relationships you want to invest in. And so that's where we're going to be thinking about the kind of conferences we need to go to, how much those things are going to cost. And we want to factor that into the number that we're trying to get to from the very beginning. And that is all that we need to do for today. Now, next time, we're going to adjust that number further. And that number is going to go up because we're then going to determine what it is that we need. So we're going to take that baseline number. We're going to adjust it for what we need for our business, what we need for our lifestyle, and we're going to continue to make a realistic number for us to create a metric in session 3. And I'll see you in the next session.